What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm back with round 3 of Chess Zone's June Classic Tournament. And going into round 3, I had a score of 1 out of 2. We secured a win against Isabel Chilederai. I was struggling to find like a knockout punch against her king on the run, but eventually I found a way to be up a queen versus rook, and we won that endgame, and I played better than I thought. So go ahead and swing over to that recap if you need some context. And I knew I'd play someone a bit stronger. Because they would have either drawn twice or won and lost. So going into round 3, I'm paired against one of my nemesis, so to speak, on the channel, Ruben Quintans. He's that extremely talented 7-year-old. He's like the youngest ever expert, if you guys don't remember who he is. And he pretty much wiped the floor with me in the rated game a couple weeks back. And that was just a very humbling experience. And I was prepared to have that repeat. And I'm like, oh, great. We're going to play a kid who's very tiny, but yet he's insanely good at chess. So, wow. All right. Well, we're going to have a rematch. And this time I was feeling like, all right, this time we're not going to lose. Did I actually manage to not lose? You're going to have to watch and find out. But I knew who I was going up against. So, anyway, I have the white pieces again, just like in the rated game, and I actually had prepared a different response were he to play the same opening line. So, here I play e4, here he goes Sicilian, which is what he did last time, knight f3, knight c6, d4, captures, and in the rated game, he played g6 going into the dragon, and I was pretty sure he would play that this time, and I would have played a different line, but instead he played knight f6. I'm like, oh shoot, come on, Ruben. Like, I spent this time like learning from my mistakes in case you were to play dragon and you don't play the same line. Like, bro. Anyway, but it's fine. Knight f6, knight c3. Here, instead of the dragon, he plays the classical variation with d6. This is also totally acceptable. You know, I've seen this a few times as well. It's pretty playable. You can do a lot of moves as white. I go with bishop b5, developing and pinning the knight to the king. He defends the pin, bishop d7, castles. He goes g6 now, so he's sort of doing a different kind of dragon setup. I'm not really too sure about that. Here I decide to take the knight. He takes with the pawn. I go knight f3. I'm trying to maybe play e5 at some point and try to trade some center pawns off and open the files. He played bishop g7, and here I play e5. My idea was to just offer a trade and open the board a little bit. And here I didn't even go down below 90 minutes, so I was moving very quickly here. He takes the pawn. I clearly take back. I'm also activating my knight. I hit his bishop. Have pressure on c6. Maybe we'll bring the queen out to f3 or e2. Bishop can come out. So I have a very playable position, very flexible. So here he castles. And here I spot a nice idea that made him think for a long time. Here I play the move bishop g5. And this got him thinking for a good amount of time, probably at least 5 minutes. And what I'm doing here it is kind of an annoying move, because what I'm doing here is I'm threatening to play bishop takes knight and remove the defender of his bishop on d7. And that is kind of annoying, because if you can't play h6, because again I take your knight and then I take your bishop. So I was actually thinking Ruben would play bishop e8, although it looks kind of ugly. I was thinking Ruben would play bishop e8 after all this. It looks kind of ugly because, it kind of cramps your position a little bit, but it's still totally playable. So anyway, he didn't play bishop e8. After a lot of time, he played knight d5, which is actually one of the best moves. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So he played knight d5, and there is some stuff going on. He's opening the attack on my knight on e5, and there's some things that I can capture. I can take his bishop on d7, for instance. I can take his knight on d5. I can do some other things, like rook e1, the engine's suggesting. So I think for a little bit, like, okay, this move is actually pretty clever of him. And after a bit of time, I decide to take the knight. And what's funny here is that after c takes d5, we both have mutual blindness. This is pretty funny in a tactical game. We both overlook... I blunder here, and he overlooks my blunder, which is actually pretty fascinating that even in a slow game, someone that's 2083, we can both have mutual blindness. So what do I mean by that? Well, in this position, I should have taken the bishop on d7, but I thought knight d5 was a bit peculiar because he's sort of giving me a pawn. So I, almost without hesitating, play queen takes d5, and as you can see, the engine is not happy with this move. It says that black is winning by minus 2.3. Now, how exactly is that the case? Well, black wants to play the move f6, which would fork my bishop and my knight. But he can't do that now because the f-pawn is pinned. So I think that's pretty obvious on how black is winning. Ruben missed this. I was pretty shocked when I was plugging this in, like, oh, damn, we both missed this. So he could have been winning right out of the gates with bishop takes knight, queen takes knight, and f6. And I'm forked. And if I think I'm fine with queen d5 check, he plays e6. And I still have to deal with two threats, my bishop hanging and my queen hanging. So I'm going to have to end up losing a piece here, which is phenomenal. Like, already on move 14, I blundered the game. So that's pretty insane. I played this like almost immediately, and he didn't see it. He played bishop e6. I'm like, okay, all right. Like, we're back to even Steven now. Plus, I'm up a pawn. I'm like, okay, we're up a pawn against Ruben. That's already a victory in my books. So I play bishop. He plays bishop to e6, completely missing the tactic. Here I decide to trade queens on d8. He plays rook f takes d8. And here I was thinking about knight c6. And it's a good thing I didn't do this. I thought I'd go knight c6 initially. I would play knight to c6. I would hit his rook and his e7 pawn. And I would be up 2 pawns. Like, he's going to defend the pawn, and I'll play knight takes e7. I'll get out with my knight with, like, knight c6. We're going to be up 2 pawns against Ruben. We're having a great game. But I then realized, wait, what if he plays rook d6? And it's true I can take, but where's my knight going? Like, my knight's trapped, basically. Next move, black's going to play f6 or something, and I'm going to be losing. So that's why I didn't go for knight c6. And if I don't take, then what was the point of putting my knight over here? So that was why I rejected knight c6, and it was correct I did that. So here I play knight d3. That's a much better move because I retreat, I don't get greedy, and I also defend my pawn on b2. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. We're still up a pawn. It's drawn, but we're up a pawn. We have some chances here. So after knight d3, Ruben plays rook ac8. Very good move. He's adding some pressure on my c-pawn, and I can't move my c-pawn because I would stop defending my knight on d3. So I figure out, I guess I have to defend the pawn on c2. So I do that with rook ac1. Here he plays rook d7 to defend his e-pawn. I go with b3. I went b3 just to prevent the bishop from ever taking on a2. Maybe I'd play c4 later. Not now because I would hang the knight, but maybe in the future I'd play c4. Maybe I'd put like my rook on d1, my f rook on d1. I'd play c4, some stuff like that. But the main idea when I played it was to just block the diagonal a little bit. Here, Ruben plays bishop f5, adding another attacker to my knight. And I don't really... If I move my knight, he will take on c2. I was considering going knight e1, but that looks pretty ugly. Like, I don't want to be too passive. Like, if you picture my knight on e1, that looks pretty... the engine says it's a move. I was looking at it, but it just looks kind of grim to a human to, you know, have your knight being so passive. So I'm like, all right, Ruben, I play bishop e3, and you can have the pawn back. So he actually, but the thing is, I'm also hitting your a7 pawn, so maybe I'd win that in a potential line. So here he plays bishop d4 just to prevent that idea. I trade. He takes back on d4. I am still up a pawn, but I'm going to quickly lose it because of the pressure he has on d3. So here I play the move. Again, I can go knight e1 to hold everything together, keep my material, but that looks pretty grim. So here I play f3, and we're just gonna trade a bunch of materials, as you're gonna see. Now the engine says he can play rook c3, not take right away, and just add another layer of pressure to my knight on d3 and probably get more active. That's what the engine's suggesting. But Ruben here, we just trade a bunch of pieces. Bishop takes d3, c takes d3, rook takes c1, rook takes c1, rook takes d3. So after all the dust settles, I'm not up a pawn anymore, and it's a totally drawn rook endgame. But I was thinking, like, okay, you know, maybe Ruben's a good player. Like, maybe I should just offer a draw here. But I'm like, nah, we're going to keep playing. You know, I'm not going to be, you know, intimidated by him as young as he is. And we're going to try to play on. Maybe he'll slip up. And you're just going to have to see. It gets very interesting later on. So stay tuned. So after rook takes d3, I play rook c2 to stop his rook from invading on the second rank. And here I had an hour and 12 minutes. And here, Ruben plays rook d7 and somehow has 35 minutes. So Ruben was thinking for a long time throughout the course of these 24 moves. So it's totally equal here. I have a 2-on-1 on the queen side that I can use to my advantage, and he has a 4-on-3 on the king side that he can use to his advantage. So here, it's very easy for me to make moves here. You know, I'm just bringing the king to the center. It's not really that hard. So king f2, he plays e6, king e3, king f8. I play b4, just starting to march my pawns on the queen side up the board, make use of my majority. He plays e5. He is starting to make some inaccuracies. Like, I don't really know why he went e6 and then e5. And here, the engine's already favoring me. It's saying I'm 0.9. I'm already starting to grow an advantage. And I thought e5 was weird because I just attack your pawn, right? And you have to, like, waste time defending it. So he plays f6. I play the move a4. Apparently the engine does not like that. I should have played the move b5, apparently, to have the +1 advantage. Alternatively, I could have played rook c6 here, and he would have went king e7, and then again, I'd have to play the move b5. So I don't really know, like, why you push one pawn without having the other next to it. I don't know. I'm not that advanced in endgames to understand the difference. And I was, like, playing these moves really quickly. Like, I thought my position was really easy to figure out and play. So I played a4. I'm like, let's just bring the pawns next to each other. But apparently, the endgame went from +1 to zeros. And I guess the reason is that the best move the computer's suggesting is rook d4, and the pawns are next to each other on the same rank, so black can take advantage of that and maybe attack them laterally. But I'm like, okay, is that really a huge deal? I would just go like rook b5 or something, or life goes on. But I don't know. Ruben did not play that. He played king e7, just trying to get more active. I play b5 now. He plays king e6. I play check. Okay, I don't know why the engine is not liking my moves. I thought this move was very logical because I would either force his king backwards, thus making him waste time, or if he went like king f5 here, that would look kind of weird because I would play like g4 check, and his king is kind of misplaced as well. So that was what I was thinking. And here he played rook d6, and he's offering to go into a king and pawn endgame. And I paused for a bit. I was basically blitzing out the past few moves. And I paused here. I'm like, all right, should we go into this? Is this who's it benefiting? Is it benefiting him, or is it benefiting me? And it's a good thing I did not go into the rook endgame, because if I had traded rooks and he takes back, this is totally losing for me, because his king is just going to go to c5 and b4, and he's going to win my pawns. And thanks to the pawn on e5, I can't go king d4 and play opposition, because, the pawn's controlling that, and I can't stop him from winning my pawns, and I'm going to be losing. So it's a good thing I paused here and did not rush and take, and instead played the move rook c7, attacking both of his pawns on the 7th rank, I guess. Now here the only move to be equal is a6. But here Ruben really quickly played the move rook d7. And I'm like, wow. He's offering another trade, but this time it looks much better for me than before. And I think about trading. I don't play it immediately. But then after a bit, I'm like, wait, this is just much better for me, because his king is one square further backwards, and that one single caveat can make me advance my king further up the board than before. So I trade rooks. I correctly deduce that this is winning for me. King takes d7, king d3, king c7, king c4. And that little difference, because he couldn't prevent my king from going up, is the reason that I'm +5. I'm totally winning in this endgame. So here he played the move king d6. I play a5, and my plan is pretty simple. All I'm going to do is I'm going to distract his king. He has to worry about my 2-on-1. I'm going to play like b6, he takes, I take, he goes king c6, I play b7, his king takes, and I invade with my king. So, I'm just going to distract him with my 2-on-1, and I'm going to go up and gobble his pawns. That was my thought process. We're going to win this game. So here after a5, I have an hour and 2 minutes, and here after f5, Ruben only has 13. So not only am I winning in this endgame, but I'm up 49 minutes on the clock, and I'm about to exact revenge on the person that humbled me in the rated game. So I'm like, yes, we're going to win this game. All right. But as you'll see in this tournament, I'll need to work on my endgames quite a bit, because after f5, I play b6, my whole plan, and I was expecting him to, take and go into the line I mentioned, where he would go after my pawn, but I would infiltrate with king d5 and didn't win his pawns. So he really shocked me by playing the move a6. I'm like, okay, I guess you can play that, but now I have a protected passer. I felt like this was better for me. Black's just going to have to, stay guarding my pawn from promoting, because I have a protected passer now. I thought this was worse for him. So after a6, I'm still totally winning. Don't get me wrong. I play g4. He is preventing my king from invading, so that is a little bit annoying. So I try to maybe put him in some sort of zugzwang. I'll show you the a takes b6 line here. I plugged it in. So if we could have went into this, again, I would push to infiltrate here. He would play e4, takes, king c6, and my king is active enough to prevent him from doing anything. King e5, king d7, king f6, king e8, king g7, and I would win his pawns. So that was the line that I was expecting him to go into. But as you'll see, a6 is actually an ingenious move that makes the endgame much more complicated. So here I play g4, he plays h6, I play h4. I'm trying to put him in some sort of zugzwang, as I said. He plays h5. Sorry about that. So now here, I should have made my life a whole lot easier and either taken on f5 or h5. The position would be the exact same regardless, because after this, he takes back b7, king c7, king d5, e4, f takes e4, f4, king d4, king takes b7, e5. And this way I would just be totally winning. I would grab his f-pawn, and I would also promote my e-pawn. It's important that I don't go back right away. As you'll see later, I'm not going to show it now, but I'll show you later, that it's important to not go back. So after h, I should have just went into this, but I played g5. I'm still totally winning, but I'm making my life harder. So I play g5, he plays king c6, and I'm like, wait a second, is this not winning? Because how am I supposed to make progress? Like, I can never infiltrate. His king is just going to go back and forth, and I have to worry about the 2-on-1, the e and f pawns overwhelming my f pawn. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I can't really go far with my king because I have to stop his plan. So I'm like, wait a second, is this a draw? Did I really mess this up? And here, for like probably 20 minutes, I was thinking for a hell of a lot of time. Probably for that long, I was looking at b7. And this is a very instructive king endgame, like king and pawn endgame. Probably one of the most instructive king and pawn endgames I've seen in a long time. So I was thinking about b7 here as a way to win. And it's a good thing I did not do it, because it would have not only blundered it into a draw. I thought it was drawn either way, but it was winning. I actually could have lost if I wasn't careful. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how. So b7. King takes b7. King d5. This version is not winning, because e4 takes f4. This is what I was calculating in my mind. I was trying to see if it was still winning. I have to go back to stop his pawn. I have to go around my own pawn, which is kind of silly. He would go king c6. And here's the reason why e5 is good. Here. e5. This is the only move to draw. I don't know if I would have played this over the board. I was looking at my version, which I'll show next. e5 is the only move to keep the draw, because he has to go f3, king e3, king d5, king takes f3, king takes e5, and we get an opposition, and this is drawn. What I was calculating in my mind after all this, trying to see it all mentally, is hard enough. So king d4, king c6. In my mind, I was calculating king d3. Like, we're going to try to run back around and stop the pawn like this. That was my thought process. Apparently, this is totally losing for me, because he can play this key move, king c5. This is very instructive. And what that does is it's a concept called triangulation. He's like wasting a move to get to the critical e5 square. And if he goes the natural route, if he plays king d6, then I play king e2, and we get into a situation called mutual zugzwang. If he goes king e5 here, I go king f3, and it's a mutual zugzwang. He has to blink first, and I would take his f4 pawn. So he can't do that. Instead, he's triangulating again. He goes king e6, and this is a draw because none of us want to go forward. If I go king f3, he goes king e5, and now I'm the one in zugzwang, and he's going to win my pawn and win the game. So basically, this is drawn because king f2, if he goes the natural route, king f2, king d6, and we're just going to toggle back and forth because none of us want to go forward and allow the other person to invade. But you'll notice, why is king d6 not winning? King c5 is the winning move for black. And it's because of triangulation. He's waiting an extra move to go to that critical square. And if I continue with my plan, king e2, he goes king d4. So he's attacking my pawn, forcing me to defend, and then he plays king e5, putting me in zugzwang. So he had to attack my pawn like that. Instead of going the natural route, he should have played king c5 here to go attack my pawn and win the game. So that was a very instructive endgame right there. And again, the only drawing move here is e5. Just to open the path to win his f-pawn. So that was the move I should have played had I went into the b7 line. But I didn't do it because it got really murky. I'm like, I don't know if it's winning or not. Like, I couldn't see the whole line in my head. So I'm like, all right, let's go king d4. He goes king d6. And I still am like, how exactly do I win this game? How exactly do I win? Because he's gonna prevent my king from ever making progress. Like, I can't ever invade. So, like, how do I win? And at this moment, I was also thinking about b7, king c7. In this line, I would promote and force his king an extra step backwards. And I'm like, maybe this is the way to win. His king on b8 versus the king on b7. Maybe this is the critical nuance to make it winning. But I still didn't see it. Like, king c5, king c7, king d5. We kind of go into the same line. e4 takes, f4, king d4, king d6. And again, I can't go back like that because he just goes king e5. But I have to play this move e5 check to not lose. King e6, king e4, f3, takes, and king e3. We have already been in this position. This would have... So b7 again wasn't the right move. But okay, besides b7, like, it doesn't look like you're making any progress. Like, if you go king c4, he just goes king c6, and we're already in this position. Like, I was convinced that this is drawn, so I was like, when I was first looking at it, I'm like, how is this winning for white? It all goes down to the concept of, like, a weird triangulation. It's mind-boggling. So after king c6, I'm like, I don't really want to go back to b4, like, because what does that do? And going backwards makes no sense. But here, the engine's like, the engine suggests this wild triangulation. It's purely fascinating. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you that the engine is saying to do some weird shenanigan stuff like this. And somehow you play b7 at the right moment. This has to be white to play. If it were black to play, he would play king c6, but it's white to play. So you do some really insane triangulation to force it to be black's turn at the wrong moment. And then you play b7 here, take king c7, here, take e4, takes, f4, king d4, king takes b7. And the reason I said e5 is winning is because here it's the only winning move to win, not going back with king d2, king e2, king f3. So this is... I would have never played that, because to a human, it's like, why would you go backwards? Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I should... And also, like, king c3, king c6, king b3, king d6, king b4. White's doing a lot of weird triangulation. Like, this is madness. King c6, king c4, king d6. We get into the same position. You play b7 at the right moment. You force black to go back and rush. And we would get into that same position. So I apparently, to win, I should have just done that crazy triangulation technique that I totally did not consider. Like, I thought this was drawn. Like, Ruben tricked me. So that's why I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this. f4. Like, I didn't really see anything better than that. f4. So I knew this was a drawn move, but I figured, like, I can't really do anything better than that, right? I didn't see that crazy triangulation. That's still mind-boggling. So after f4, it quickly fizzles out to a draw because he plays e4. And this is drawn because neither king can make progress. Black has to stay watching my b-pawn. I have to stay watching his e-pawn. And there's just nothing to be done here. We're just going to go back and forth. So king d4, king d6, king e3, king c6. And here, I offer him a draw, and he says yes. So we get a draw, which I guess is a good result against Ruben because, well, he's 2083. So I am happy that I drew a 2083, especially considering my brutal loss against him in the rated game. But at the same time, I'm annoyed that I couldn't win that endgame, and I didn't see that crazy triangulation stuff. So I could have won that endgame if I had known that idea and I had seen it. But again, it's still a good result either way. Like, if drawing a 2080 is still a great result, that was not really an obvious way to win, even though the engine's saying it's like totally winning for white. I was like, how do you actually materialize that advantage? And that's what I missed. So I guess I had to see that triangulation technique to pull it off, but I didn't. And I guess I have to be grateful too that I didn't lose, because we both missed the bishop takes e5, f6 tactic. So that was a crazy game. He was winning for one move. I was winning that king and pawn endgame, but I didn't see it. Eventually we get a draw, and we have a score of 1.5 out of 3. Totally crazy game, very instructive king and pawn endgame. And we have a score of 1.5 out of 3. That was day 1 of the tournament. We had 1, 1, and 1, and I'm going to show you the last 2 games for the second day of the tournament soon. If you like this content and you like this endgame, don't be shy and let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want, and have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.